Hello everyone, we are taking notes today on sex-linked genetics problems. So again, we're going to be using Punnett squares, but we're going to be doing sex-linked genes, and we'll talk about what those are in a second. If you don't have your notebook out, go ahead and get it out. Your title can be sex-linked genetics. So let's continue on. Here's our learning target. I can predict the offspring, phenotypes, and genotypes for sex-linked crosses. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Let me give you a quick question. You don't have to write any of this down. A male with one gene for colorblindness is colorblind. A female with one gene for colorblindness is not colorblind. So why is it they both have one gene for colorblindness? One of them's colorblind, the other isn't. It all has to do with sex chromosomes. So what the heck are sex chromosomes? A female has the chromosomes XX, and a male has XY. The Y chromosome is the one that makes testosterone, and it makes you a male, okay? So if we take a look here, and you don't have to write any of this down yet, but if you take a look at the male, remember how many chromosomes do we say everybody has in their nucleus of their cells? 46, right? Two sets of 23. So you'll notice 22, and then this is the 23rd pair. So a male has an X and a Y chromosome. Female has two X chromosomes. Write this down. So the sex chromosomes are the X and the Y chromosomes. Male has XY, female has XX. Now, there are some exceptions to this rule. You can be born with some extra chromosomes or missing a chromosome as well. Or you could have some genes on the X or the Y chromosome that don't function correctly, okay? So this is just part of the picture. If we take a look at the X and the Y chromosome, we notice that the X chromosome is larger than the Y, right? X is pretty big, Y is pretty small. So the traits and the genes we talk about are all going to be on the X chromosome. Why? Well, because it's bigger, and because males and females have these. So chances are they're going to be more common. It's up to you if you want to write this top part. You don't really need to know it. I'm going to move on. You can pause it if you would like to write it down. All right, you do need to write down these examples. And these examples are going to be really important, okay? Because I'm going to tell you, for example, oh, so-and-so has red-green colorblindness and the other one does not. Cross these two individuals. And you need to know that red-green colorblindness is a sex-linked trait. I'm not going to tell you that it's sex-linked. So here's an example. Red-green colorblindness, that's the most common type of colorblindness. It's where red and green look the same. So this is what a person with red-green colorblindness would see, that picture on the right. So we've assigned letters to these. Again, you can always use whatever letters you want, but just know that the capital letter is going to be normal for all of these conditions that are sex-linked. The lowercase letter is going to be the condition. So in this case, it will be colorblind. So I won't take off points if you use a different letter. If you like A or D or whatever, that's totally fine. Another example is hemophilia. Okay, this is a blood clotting disorder. There's actually a couple different types. What is blood clotting? Well, if you've ever gotten cut, you end up getting a scab. The reason you get a scab is because the blood is clotting and it's stopping the flow of blood out of your skin. With hemophilia, your blood actually can't clot. You can't form scabs. So that's really dangerous because you just keep bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. So people who have hemophilia actually have to take special medicine that gives them the extra ability to have their blood clot. So again, capital letter is going to be normal. Lowercase letter is going to indicate the disorder. It's going to be the gene for the disorder. Again, if you want to use different letters than H's, that is totally fine. We have muscular dystrophy. Okay, as the name sounds, this affects the muscles. Typically, people here have loss of motor function. Our letters for this are going to be capital M is normal, lowercase m is muscular dystrophy. Be careful here with the M's because uppercase and lowercase m's can look very similar. So if you want to substitute that for a different letter, that's fine as well. And then male pattern baldness. I'm sure you've seen men who are bald or in the process of balding. And we're going to talk about why this happens more on males than it does on females. You can see this is kind of like the progression. First, they start losing hair kind of by their temples and the back of their head, and then eventually they become completely bald on the top of their heads. So we're going to use a large P for normal and a lowercase p for baldness. Again, P is a tricky letter because big P and little p look very similar, so you can sub out that letter as well. All right, so these traits are all on the X chromosome. So we write the gene letters next to an X. So I want you to write this example here so we see how to write them. Instead of just writing B, big B, big B, we write them next to an X because that reminds us that they're on the X chromosome, and this is super important. So let's take colorblindness. In order for us to have a colorblind individual, we would have to have two little b's because remember, little b is the colorblind gene. Now this is only for a female, right? Because we've got two X's. So little b is colorblind. Big B, little b. Well, they're going to be normal. Why? Well, they've got a normal gene and normal is dominant. And if they've got two normal genes, they're still going to be normal as well. So take a second, pause the video if you need to, copy down this chart. Now let's look at males. Males only have one X chromosome, so they can only have one letter. These letters can't be on the Y chromosome because remember, we said they're only found on the X chromosome. So we're only going to have one letter. A normal male is going to be X with a big B and then the Y. The Y just doesn't really matter in this case because it doesn't have a colorblind gene on it. And then for the colorblind male, it's going to be X lowercase b y. So you notice there's a much higher chance here. There's only two possibilities. When we look at the females, they had three possibilities. Okay, three possibilities of gene combination. Males only have two. And that's one of the reasons why it's more common in males to have this male pattern baldness. Females can have it, but they need two of these little b genes because they've got two X chromosomes. If you haven't copied down this chart, again, pause the video, copy it down as well. So let's take a look at this. Hemophilia is sex-linked, we know that. Big H is normal, little h is hemophilia. So let's see if we can figure out what this person is. First of all, are they male or female? They've got two X's. It would be female, right? And then big H and little h, are they going to be normal or have hemophilia? They would be what? Normal, a normal female, okay? Let's do the next one. Is it male or female? So X, little h, y. Are they normal or do they have hemophilia? So this is a male because it's X and a Y and they have hemophilia. So it's a male with hemophilia. Let's do a practice problem. A normal man and a woman with hemophilia plan on having a baby. Okay. So we know from our notes, dominant is normal, recessive is hemophilia. What do we do for letters? You can pick any letter you want. Dominant's going to be a capital, right? So hemophilia is going to be a lowercase. We're just going to use the H's that we wrote in the notes, but you can use whatever one you want. Then we have to figure out mom and dad. Mom is going to have two X's, right? So it says a woman with hemophilia. So if she's got hemophilia, she's got to have two little H's. And a normal man okay? So he's normal, he has X and a Y. So let's take a look at this. So mom's got little h, dad's got a big H and a Y. So we put them into the sperm and the egg, right? So mom's gonna have the X and little h, dad's gonna have a big X and a big H and a Y. When we make our punnett square, right, we've got mom down this side, dad on this side. Again, we could flip-flop this. Dad could be here, mom could be here. And we're gonna carry them across. So when we fill them in, it looks like this. So you'll notice the two X's, these are females. The X and the Y, these are males. So the females, are they gonna be normal or have hemophilia? They each have a capital letter. So they're gonna be normal, right? Because big H is normal. What about the males? They both have little h's. They're gonna have hemophilia, okay? So if we count up all the offspring, all 4 of them, right? 2 will be normal and 2 will have hemophilia. Now the other thing we can look at is how many of the girls will have hemophilia or be normal, okay? Of the girls, 2 out of 2 will be normal. So 100% of the girls will be normal. What about the boys? 2 out of 2 are gonna have hemophilia. So 100% of the boys are gonna have hemophilia. So just pay attention if it says, does it ask for all the offspring or just the girls or just the boys? We'll do one more. If you think you've got it, you can go ahead and try the worksheet. Otherwise, we're gonna do one more. So we've got a colorblind man and a woman who is a carrier for colorblindness, and they have a family. So dominant is normal, recessive is colorblind. We know that from our notes. We're gonna pick letters to represent each. Remember, normal is gonna be the capital. Colorblind is going to be the lowercase. So we've used B's. Now we got to figure out what the mom and the dad is. So the dad's colorblind. Remember, he's XY. So if he's colorblind, he's going to have a little b. And the woman's a carrier. A carrier means she's carrying one of the colorblind genes. So the woman is XX, and she's going to have a big B and a little b. So this is what we should have. Mom's got a big B, little b. Dad's got a big B. So we put them in our sperm and our egg. Them on our punnett square. Mom's on this side, dad's on this side. Okay, we could have flip-flopped it. Fill in our punnett square. And notice, okay, we've got 2 people here that have a big B. So as long as they have a big B, they're going to be normal. So 2 out of 4 would be normal. 2 out of 4 would be colorblind. What about the females, though? If we just look at the XX, how many of these are going to be colorblind? How many of the females would be colorblind? 1 out of 2, right? There's 2 females. One of them, this one, will be colorblind. So 50%. What about the males? What percent of those will be colorblind? 50%, right? Because this one's going to be colorblind.